Yesterday afternoon, I caught up with Corkman Patrick. He is one of I believe, the first person to go into and to leave an Irish quarantine hotel. So he went into the quarantine system and went out of it again all across the weekend. He had come back from Mexico and had an eventful few days since he left Mexico, and that's exactly what I was chatting with him yesterday afternoon when I caught up with him, just having come out of the quarantine hotel. He was telling me he was just back from Mexico on Friday.
Friday I came back from Mexico to France to Dublin Airport.
Okay, what happened when you got to Dublin? Tell us all the story.
I went to the border patrol, the guys in the little boot office, and they wouldn't accept my test. They said that they wanted a PCR test, and I had an antigen test done, which I got from Mexico and France, and that's the airline. That's the test that the airline told me to use, you know.
Okay, and there's a difference between an antigen and a PCR, isn't there?
Yeah, the antigen gives you there and then. It gives you 100%, you know. If you have COVID or not.
Which would strike you as kind of better, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like it's used all over the world, and typical Irish again, you know. Okay,
so you didn't know that you needed to have a PCR less than 72 hours before you arrived. You didn't know anything about that.
No.
Okay,
no.
So when they said that to you, what happened then at the airport?
They wanted to take my passport and my phone off me, and I wouldn't give them because they had no right to take it off me. The guards were called, two special branch lads and some woman from the HSE and the army were called. They escorted me out of the airport.
So how many people arrived to escort you out of Dublin Airport in total?
I say 8 to 9, 10 people. And
where did you go when you went outside the airport? Was it onto a coach or a bus or what?
Onto a coach. There was 2 army jeeps on there was an army personnel car on the front, and there was an army personnel 4x4 at the back of the bus. And I was on the bus on my own, and I asked them, and when they were bringing me, you know, and I got no answer off them, you know.
So you tried to have a conversation with them. I mean, I just want to get an idea, because, the new rules are there for people who don't arrive with a PCR, and then there's a special one where you go straight into quarantine if you're one of the 33 countries. You weren't coming from one of the 33 countries, but were you trying to chat with them? Were they refusing to answer your questions, or what? Just talk me through that.
No, they were kind of like, they were standing back off me, like as if I had the disease, you know, like keep back, like, you know.
Yeah.
You know. I looked at myself. I knew that I was able to appeal it, you know. But I didn't get to appeal it anyway.
Okay, but I'll come to that. But when you were in the airport, did they tell you where they were going to be taking you?
No. They said that they had no idea, that they weren't told.
So where did you go then in this? Was it did you say it was a small coach or something? Or?
No, it's one of the big coaches.
Okay, so on your own you went in that to a hotel?
Yeah, to a hotel, that's right, yeah. Okay,
and what happened when you got to the hotel?
Got to the hotel, they took my bags from me, told me to stay on the bus. The security guards were foreign lads, and they couldn't speak the best part of English, you know.
Right.
So I didn't have a clue what they were saying. When I got off the bus, I was told that I was going to be met by a personnel a medical team, and they want to go through everything with me.
Yeah.
I never ever met I still didn't meet no personnel medical team.
So at this point in the hotel lobby, what hotel was it?
The Crown Plaza.
So you're in the lobby of the Crown Plaza, and up until this point, did you know at this stage you were going to be put in a room to quarantine?
No, I didn't know, because they told me that they were going to, that there was going to be a health team meet me and go through everything with me because of the antigen test, you know, and that never happened.
Okay, so what happened? You stayed on the bus for how long, and what happened next?
I was on the bus for about 5 minutes. I came off, and they brought me through the lobby in the hotel and brought me down at the back of the bar, and they sat me down on my own.
At the back of the bar?
At the back of the bar, like away from everyone, you know. With
a mask on, no more than that?
Oh, I had a mask on, but that's all the lads said on it. Like, the lads only had masks on. They didn't know all this PPE gear, you know.
Okay.
They said that they were going to be wearing and all this crap, you know.
And at what stage did they tell you that you'd have to stay in the hotel until you had a what did they tell you?
They didn't tell me nothing. I just they told me that I'm going to be kept in quarantine, and I told them my situation, and I told them that I want to be tested again with the PCR test, and the security lads, they couldn't speak English, they had no English, and they just brought me to my room.
The security staff working in the hotel had no English?
Yeah, I think that they were private companies, you know. Well, the lads on night staff, you know.
What?
And they were foreign lads, you know.
At what time Friday night was this?
What time of night? Maybe 11 o'clock.
Did you have all your luggage? Did you have all your luggage with you?
I had my luggage with me, but they had my luggage first, and I told them that they'd no right to be going through my luggage, but they said that they weren't, but I don't know if they did or not, you know.
So at this stage you must have realised, okay, I'm going into quarantine. I don't know how long. Were you aware of the 2 weeks quarantine that had just come into force in Ireland?
I was aware of it, yeah, because I've been following the news there on online and stuff, you know.
Okay.
But I knew that I was coming back from Mexico, and Mexico wasn't on the list, so I thought everything was okay, you know.
Well, because you had the antigen test, which was taken
I had the antigen test, yeah, exactly, yeah.
And that was in France?
I got the antigen test in Mexico before I left, because I had to have that, so I got on the airplane. They asked for my test in Mexico, okay, go through. France asked for my test, okay, go through. And then when I came to Ireland, they said no. Because
you didn't have a PCR?
At the PCR test, which the PCR test can pick up if you were sick 6 months ago. You know? That's the whole thing, like with the antigen test, like that, it gives you...
It's no.
It gives you there and then, like, you know?
Yeah.
If you have it or not, like, you know?
So what was the hotel stay? Talk to us all about that.
Right, they brought us up to our room on Friday. They asked me to fill out some form of food, you know, to take off what food that I wanted.
Yeah.
For the time that I was going to be staying there, and I told them at the start that I was celiac and gluten-free food. They said, okay, and they brought me up to the room. They brought up my dinner that night at around 11:30. Told me that I can't leave the room. The windows couldn't open, and the door was closed. So got my dinner, didn't know what was happening, wasn't speaking to no one. I rang the receptionist and told her that I want to appeal it, and they told me that they'd have someone call up to me and that the medical team will be calling up my room soon. That was Friday night, and none of them ever came to my room. So that was Friday night. So Saturday morning, I couldn't eat the food because the food wasn't gluten free, so all I was eating was fruit and drinking bottles of water. You know?
What did they actually serve you? Because I've seen some photographs. I'm not saying from that hotel, but I have seen some photographs of food that looks like airplane food with sealed cellophane tops.
That's it, yeah. Like airplanes and the microwave food, you know, in the small cartons, you know.
Yeah, it doesn't look the Mayo West though. What was it? What did they serve?
Rice and curry for dinner, and for breakfast, scrambled egg and 2 sausages and a yogurt, and for lunch was mushroom soup and a roll.
And could you eat all of that being celiac?
No, I couldn't eat it, no. So I had to get my family in Cork to ring for food to be delivered to the hotel last night, you know.
From outside of the hotel you had to have it delivered in?
I had to have it delivered in, yeah.
Could you not pick up the phone to reception and say, I can't eat this, I'm celiac, I already filled in the list?
I told him twice. I told him 2 or 3 times, and I got nothing back from them, you know.
Did you get out of the room for any periods of time?
I left the room today, and there was another guy up a couple of doors from me. He went through the same situation, the exact same as me. He came from London with his antigen test, and I goes to him, look, I'm going downstairs. There's security guard at the end of each corridor, so I'm walking down today at 12 o'clock because I actually have a 2-day because I got a root canal done while I was in Mexico, and my tablets were taken out of my bag. I have antibiotics and painkillers. I asked for painkillers last night, and they wouldn't give them to me. They said that they had none in the hotel, and I still didn't get painkillers off of them. So today, anyway, at around 12 o'clock.
Were you in a lot of pain? Were you in a lot of pain then?
Yeah, I had no sleep since Thursday, really, you know.
Okay, well, the pain management, that's bad. The food is sounding bad. I think you're...
Oh, the food is just horrible, like, you know. Like, and like, I wouldn't be a ticket now for food.
Yeah. So what's in the room? Is just the bed? I mean, obviously you weren't with a family, so it wasn't bunk beds or anything. You just had a bed.
I had a bed, your bathroom and your shower, and I had a television just with the basic channels, you know.
Okay, just a regular hotel room.
Just a regular hotel room, yeah.
And when you went down yesterday at lunchtime, what did you go downstairs for? Text?
I didn't go down raw yesterday at lunchtime because we weren't left leave the room, you know. So today at lunchtime, I said that I was leaving because I wanted to get the painkillers, you know, and I wanted to appeal it. So I got a PCR test Saturday morning, and they told me that I'd had the result at 11 a.m. this morning. So I rang the receptionist and they said, "Oh yeah, your result will be here soon. Your result will be here soon." So 12 o'clock, I had no result, so I headed downstairs with this other chap, Gavin, his name is, and two of us went downstairs and we demanded that we want to be let out for fresh air, and we got stopped at the doors. So first I'm now leaving the room since Friday, and we got pushed back off the doors, said that we can't go outside. That it's off limits and there's no regulations and there's a new law. If we go outside, we can be arrested. So we said, that's grand, we'll wait here in the lobby until we get our test. So some guy from the HSE came out and said, we'll have our test at 3:30. So this was 2 o'clock, we were waiting in the lobby now 2 hours. And 3:30 he goes, go back to our room. So we went back to our room and we came back down at 3 o'clock or at 3:30 and we still had no result.
Yeah, just going back on something you said there, that you weren't left out. The rule that I knew of was that everybody, you couldn't have guests in or anything like that, you know, obviously, but you could go out for controlled exercise breaks, fresh air, or for a smoke. A few people left it. They left quarantine. 3 of them. I think a couple of them have been found. Do you think they changed the rules because people left quarantine?
Well, like, they left yesterday evening, I think, like, you know, and I asked Saturday morning, which was yesterday evening, can I go outside, like, you know, and they said no, like, you know. They were like, they just kept making up excuses and they just kept lying to us, like, with everything, you know.
You eventually got the PCR test back, and of course, you don't have COVID.
That was just because we waited downstairs in the lobby, me and this other guy, Gavin, and there was another couple going through the same thing, and the other couple had a PCR test and they still brought it to the hotel, and there were 6 of us down in the lobby and we would move, and they kept saying, go back to your room, go back to your room, go back to your room, and we said, we're not leaving until we get our test. So I just got my test there about an hour ago, literally, and Roma has it, there was a guy came out and told us that the HSE guy that was in the hotel had to ring me, Hall Martin, to get the results.
Yeah, like maybe it's early days and they're still getting into their stride, would you think?
No, they don't know what they're doing.
Would you say you were dealt with in a respectful manner for your stay there for the 2 nights?
Yeah. Like, it's in your human right to go and get fresh air and get food. The room was also cold, you know. There was no heating in the room, you know.
Ah, well, that's wrong. We need heating still at this time of the year.
You know, and especially then, like, I come back from Mexico, so I know warm clothes like the beach, you know.
So you weren't treated in a respectful manner then?
No.
Would the kind of treatment that you're describing, what must it be like for somebody who has to do this for 14 days?
Well, I wouldn't be able to do it for 14 days. That's one thing for sure, to be locked inside a room and for someone to knock at the door and say that your food is there and they're waiting for you to pick up your food, and then you're going back into your room. And there's 2 security guards at the end of the room. And I once did they come up and check us, you know? Like, for all they know, like we could have died or be dead, you know?
You could have been dead in the bed, you're saying. Nobody rings or knocks on the door.
Nobody rings.
All day long, no one comes near you to see, are you still alive?
Nothing at all. And they also wanted to pay for the hotel, which I didn't pay for.
You were supposed to pay €150 a night.
Well, they told me and they told all the other guests that came in on the same night that they had to pay €500 if we were going to be staying and if we were going to be appealing it. And if we were staying for the 14 nights, they wanted 1850 off us.
Yeah, but if you come into the country without a PCR test, you go to a hotel, you can get the test done, and on that basis they charge you a daily rate of 150 for the first person, 55 for the second, and then kids are €30 from age 4 to 12. So you paid nothing. What did they say when you refused to pay?
They said nothing. I told them that I couldn't afford it, and that I came back from Mexico, not planning on staying in a hotel for 2 nights or 40 nights, you know.
You just didn't have it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And the other guys that got left go there, they didn't pay, you know.
And you haven't slept. And do you have to go to work tomorrow? Is that the plan?
Well, I was supposed to be quarantined, but I'd be all clear here now again, like, you know, so that I don't have the COVID, like, you know. So I won't be going to work tomorrow, no.
And was there many people in the rooms in the hotel that you were in, or do you even know?
Well, I was one of the first people there, you know. Well, I'm the first person to leave quarantine. So there was a lot of people coming in, like, but they were all elderly people, you know.
Going into quarantine?
Going into quarantine, and there was a couple of people that were just sitting on tables down in the lobby, and they weren't responding to the people. They were waiting for their lawyers, you know.
Lawyers? Really?
Yeah. I tell you, it's something like over a movie up there, and I'm not lying to you. It's all done wrong, you know.
What are they looking? Are they calling lawyers?
Yeah. There was 2 lads, and I was sitting across the way from them, and this other chap from the north, and we were waiting for a test, and they told him that they're not speaking to him until the lawyers come, and the lawyers were on the way, but these guys had tests that were negative, and they were brought here, you know.
And why are people calling lawyers? Because is it that they're refusing to go into quarantine?
I think so, yeah.
Like you understand that there are strains coming in from different countries, and we need to knock it on the head and shut it down. You get that, don't you?
Well, I understand that. Like, and if I tested positive, I would have stayed there, because I'd have to stay there. Like, but like, this country only has 4.5 million people in it, and we're the longest country in the world to be in lockdown. Mexico is up and running, you know.
Yeah,
the States is up and running, you know.
The one thing that
people,
I know,
people call me a conspiracy theorist, blah blah blah. Like, I was in Mexico City last Wednesday and Thursday, and there's 25 million people that don't live in that city, and restaurants, bars are open, everything.
Yeah, but how many people got infected? How many people died?
Well, that's another thing, you know.
Do you know the figure? Because I don't. I'd have to check it. Or was it high?
Well, I don't know, Neil.
Are they fact? Yeah, well,
they're saying, you know.
100,000?
Yeah, well, like, I won't be believing in this media either, you know.
Okay, but maybe have they vaccinated a lot of people in Mexico?
No, they haven't, no.
Shane, Mac. Like, I know I mentioned earlier on about the food, but if you're paying €150 a night for a bed and breakfast and dinner, you'd expect the dinner to be decent, wouldn't you, for $150 a night?
Oh, of course you would. Like, you get a 5-star hotel like for that, like, and
well, you'd get a menu, wouldn't you? You'd even get maybe a night menu or something, like be better than what you got.
No, they just give you a choice of 3 curries for your dinner: Thai curry, green curry, and a regular curry, and you have to pick off of those.
Nah, man, that's not value for money, no sir.
And your breakfast, you don't get to choose, and your lunch, you don't get to choose.
How would you have managed if you'd been there for a fortnight? Would you have gone crazy?
Definitely, yeah.
Would you have tried to get out?
I think so, yeah.
I know that people listening to this will be wondering, was it essential travel to Mexico? Do you mind me asking that?
Well, it was, because it was the birth of my daughter, you know. I went over like for the birth of my child, you know.
Congratulations, Daddy.
Thank you.
Some welcome home though after that, what?
Oh, unbelievable, like, you know, like, and my partner's father was a doctor, and he couldn't believe that I was stopped with the antigen test. You know, I was speaking to him yesterday on the phone, and he just could not believe that I was stopped with the antigen test.
Well, the only upside to this for us Irish people is that if they say a PCR test and people don't have it, they are refusing to let them into the country. They're sending them straight to quarantine. Now, I know what you're saying about the antigen, but at least they're being very strict.
Well, Neil, there was a couple that were down in the lobby a while ago. They were complaining that that the guards signed something that the couple didn't sign, and the couple had their PCR test and their kids had the PCR test, and they were lied to, and they were brought to the hotel, and the woman told me that she was actually pulled off the bus last night, and they were there now speaking with the army personnel, and the army, I think the army gave them the go ahead to leave as well, you know.
Well, what country did they come in from?
Malta, I think, and Malta's not on the list either, you know.
How can that happen if they had the PCR tests and they came from Malta? That makes no sense.
Yeah, and they had the PCR test, and they showed me the PCR test, you know.
Anyway, you're happy to be out of it. You're saying that it's, when you were leaving, it was getting busy. A lot of people in the lobby waiting for lawyers, bizarrely. And are there in that lobby? I know that there's staff, and there also would be security. And you said the language barrier was bad. Were there guards or army in the hotel?
Oh, there was army in the hotel. Like, the army are running the hotel, you know. And if you don't comply them with the army, the guards are called, you know.
Yeah, and did it get a bit heated at all when you were there?
This couple that came in from Malta, they got really angry because they were told that they were going to be brought to the guard station and to sign some form in the guard station to say that they're going to be quarantined for 14 days at home, and they were brought to the hotel last night at 12 o'clock with their two kids, you know.
My God. One wonders whether they'll be there for the 14 days. You don't know. I guess you wouldn't know.
No. And they were left go there as well, I think, you know.
Okay, so you're happy to be out of it and on the train to Cork, is that it?
I'm on the train out to Cork, yeah.
Okay, it's been some experience. The first man out of hotel quarantine from Cork.
That's right, yeah.
We can claim that if nothing else, Patrick.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
All right, my man. Listen, appreciate you taking the call, I really do. Safe trip.
All right, Dave, thank you. Cheers, bye, thanks.
And subsequent to that, then I went and checked. Anyway, I was just checking different stats and figures with regards to Mexico. And Mexico yesterday had to revise their COVID death figures because they had been under-reporting. So it was far from 100,000 deaths in Mexico. It's 321,000 people have died in Mexico since the start of the COVID pandemic. 321,000. They were under-reporting, apparently. And fair play to everybody that's picking up on that conversation on one aspect of it, antigen versus PCR. One thing that we learned from the conversation with Patrick, who went in and out of quarantine, is that they're being very, very strict. If you don't have a PCR test, nothing else will do. And just on that, a couple of texts. Antigen tests only have approximately 40 to 60% efficacy, depending on the brand. PCR tests are much more effective. There's another one on that. To balance the argument, you should have someone on the radio to explain the difference between the clinical utility of these tests and why, in this setting, the PCR test is best. Well, you do it in your text, in fairness to you. And there's another one or two more like that, talking about the difference between accuracy of a PCR test and an antigen test. And I thank them for you. Antigen is not what's accepted. I understand that. I have no problems with the criteria being used to go into quarantine. If you don't have a PCR test, nothing else will do. And people coming in from overseas should know all of that. They should be aware of it, and they should be Googling the details and making sure that they have all their ducks in a row. Otherwise, it's into quarantine, which sounds, at the moment anyway, quite chaotic.
Neil Prendeville, the voice of Cork. Weekdays 9 to 12. Cork's Red FM.